These are the games to play these type of players, isn't it? To give them their opportunity, isn't it, as well? But as you can see, Blues fans, I mean, the amount of options we've got is absolutely ridiculous. It is crazy, isn't it? Yeah. And also as well, what we've been talking about, the way that we can adapt the team as well, so that we can say, well, maybe this player could play here. We've never had that really like that before. Occasionally we've had a player that could play in multiple positions, but not that many players that can play. You can just swap him here, and it's like chess, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
You're just trying to get the right sort of balance and stuff like that.
So welcome back to BCFC Royal Blue. And on Sunday, Birmingham City head to Sutton United in the first round of the FA Cup. Now, Birmingham City are currently sitting top of League One, and Sutton United are sitting 12th in the National League. So it should make for quite an interesting tie. And this is what the FA Cup's all about, these sort of magical ties that can happen along the way. So, Dad, Birmingham City versus Sutton United, what are your thoughts?
Well, firstly, I love the FA Cup. I always have. I don't like being in the first round of the FA Cup, but I love the FA Cup. And we're playing a team with a bit of a pedigree in the FA Cup, Sutton United. I mean, they knocked Coventry City famous. I think this is their most famous sort of claim to fame for the FA Cup. They knocked Coventry City out of the FA Cup 2-1, just 2 years after Coventry had won the FA Cup in 1987. Is it not? Yeah, 1987 they won it, wasn't it? And then 2006, 2007 they got to the fifth round, and they knocked out. They beat a couple of league teams, including Leeds United, on the way, and they eventually got knocked out by Arsenal. So they got a bit of a pedigree for FA Cup, and it's one of those teams that you draw in the FA Cup that are the ground's much more compact. I think they've got a capacity of 7,000.
Something like that, yeah.
It is 7,000, and it's going to be a very different type of environment. Although we have been to some different grounds this season already in the league, haven't we? But this, I think, will be another level in terms of a smaller capacity.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good game for us again, particularly back on the back of our EFL win against Fulham under 21s. It'd be another opportunity for Chris Davies to use the squad, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
And maybe give a few players a bit of a run at.
Yeah, and we saw that against Fulham, didn't we, Dave? We saw Yakayama stepping in. We saw Mark Leonard get a full game, all these things. So it was really nice to see some fringe players get the minutes. And before we get into the actual thick of it, I just want to say, if any Blues fans are travelling there, please do your research and don't go to Sutton Coldfield, because there's been some fans who think it's Sutton Coldfield-based team, and actually this is in London. And I heard the coach driver down the way back from Mansfield say it's going to take a 4.5-hour coach journey to get there. So
it's just south. So it's south of London, isn't it? So it's in the direction of it's Surrey, isn't it? So it's in the direction of Gatwickish, type of area.
But I saw on X when the draw got announced, someone said, yes, a local derby in the bag, I was thinking. And then everyone was commenting, no, it's in London, it's in London. So please don't go to Sutton Coldfield and expect us to be playing. But, I think Sutton United are a lot more closer to the grassroots sort of style of football, aren't they? And that's proven in their squad. Every single player, apart from one, their nationality is English. So again, when you think about Premier League and Championship, we have a lot of international players, don't we? But when you hit this level, it's very grassroots, authentic English football. So they've got one who isn't. His name is Eduino Vaz. I probably pronounced that wrong. I do apologise if I have. And he's apparently quite a good player. So it should be an interesting game. We go into this top of League One, winning against Fulham, and Sutton go into this after beating Braintree 1-0 as well. So we're both going into it off the back of wins. But if we're going to be brutally honest and objective here, it's going to be a tough game for Sutton United, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And they were a league team last season. They got relegated from League Two into the National League last season. So they've only just come down from League Two. They've had a bit of a mixed start. They started off reasonably well. And obviously, when we do research of these teams, we always have a look at their form and their current results. So they started off in their first 5 games unbeaten. So they drew against Tamworth in their first game, who were newly promoted to the National League. Then they beat their best result. They beat Altrincham 5-0, and then won 1-0 away at Wealdstone. Then 2 draws against York City, who are doing very well in the National League this season, and Eastleigh. Then 3 defeats on the bounce, losing to Forest Green, who came down with them from the league. They lost 3-0 at home to Boston United, and Dagenham and Redbridge they lost again 3-0. Then they went on a bit of a purple patch and won 3 games out the next 4 against Southend, against Ebbsfleet, drew with Yeovil, and then beat Woking, and then lost 3 again on the bounce, losing to Hartlepool, Oldham, and Gateshead, and then like you mentioned, then their last game's been that away win at Braintree. So that probably demonstrates why they're 12th in the National League, because they're very inconsistent in their form, aren't they? I mean, it's hard to tell really in terms of you're looking at that form in the National League, but they are going to come up against us who have got a lot of confidence because of what's happening with us in League One. So it is going to be a tough game. But you know what, Matt? This is what the FA Cup's all about. It's about ties like this. It's about. I mean, we would have been one of the teams that most teams would have wanted to draw in the first round. We're one of the bigger teams in the first round. We were Championship last season. So this is a one of those typical FA Cup games that if we're not on it, things can happen, mistakes can be made, and we just got to make sure that I'm sure Chris Davies will, like he did against the Fulham under-21s, they'll have them up for it and focused properly.
It's similar to what we have said against a couple of teams at the League One level. There is absolutely no doubt about it. Birmingham City have more quality than a lot of the teams at the League One level because we've spent the money, we've invested in the team and the squad. Yeah. But what a lot of League One teams have going for them, and what Sutton United will have for them, is that they've got nothing to lose, and they're very physical, and they will kick you off the park, and they're going to pay you no respect, basically. And that's going to be a big thing that goes in their favour. Just that whole attitude of, we don't care who you are, we're here. In fact, just to show you what the pressure is for Birmingham, the bookies say there's a 90% chance of a Birmingham win. So, if you think about Sutton United there, Dad, they're going to go into this quite literally with nothing to lose, are they? And
yeah, but isn't that, wouldn't you agree, Matt, that's almost the attitude of every league club we've played this season. Their attitude is exactly the same. They just think we want to beat them.
Yeah, of course. Everyone wants to scalp a Birmingham, in League One especially, because we are the league winners. We have spent a good amount of money. Everyone wants to claim that scalp, and Sutton United are no different. They're going to want to try and get that FA Cup scalp, I have no doubt. But what's interesting, Dad, just to piggyback off your stats there, I've got a few myself. I mean, this was more challenging than usual, wasn't it, Dad? Because when we do research on, it's no disrespect to Sutton United here, just an observation. When we do research on Championship teams or League One teams, there's quite a lot of data out there that we can pull on, and there's quite a few clips on YouTube. For Sutton United, when you hit the lower levels, that information isn't as deep.
You have to dig deeper.
You have to dig deeper, exactly. But again, just to piggyback, they're a better away team than they are home team. Their average points per game at home is 1, but away it's 1.75.
You got the same stats as me.
I thought that was quite interesting. And again, a little bit of a quirkier one, because I like to put 2 and 2 together. I mean, sometimes I could be talking nonsense, but I think this is quite interesting. And they've conceded so far 6 goals in the first half, 18 in the second.
Okay.
So they're, again, I said this in the Mansfield video, and it was like there's a pattern of conceding goals in the second half and beyond. Doesn't that play into the whole consistency thing that you said? That it's that you don't know what team's going to turn up. They're kind of a little bit lagging in concentration, maybe, or fitness towards the later part of games. And they've got a shocking disciplinary record. They average 5 cards a game.
Wow. Red?
No. I'm not sure.
I'm joking. You're not going to find red.
Imagine a game called off. No wonder they're 12th. They keep getting games called off. But no, they have averaged 5 cards a game. To be fair, I don't know what colours they are. Probably a mix. Mainly yellows, I would say.
Yeah.
And again, they averaged 3+ in the second half again. But, I'm sure you've got the stats on their players as well, Dad. I've got research on Will Davies. He's their one to watch. Apparently, he's their top goal scorer and assists with 5 goals and 3 assists. Josh Coley, 4 goals, 2 assists. Ashley Nadeedson, 4 goals, no assists. And Jaden John Lloyd Harris, 3 goals, 3 assists. They're the 4 players I've picked out from Sutton who have actually managed to have a little bit of data on and information on who are their sort of danger people, so to speak, going forward. Yeah,
I've got those as well. They've got a good manager as well, Steve Morrison. He used to play for Millwall. He went on a few spells to Millwall. I remember him playing just a few seasons ago. So he's he's not long retired completely from the playing side of it. So he'll know his way around, tactics and how to set his team up. So he'll have his players fired up and right up for it as well. Again, trying to sort of research formation, it was quite difficult. But I
couldn't find anything.
The research I've looked at is that a lot of teams in the National League play 4-4-2.
4-4-2, yeah.
But don't take that as read, by the way. That's just the general research about National League. But I'm not sure whether they.
I like it, old school.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with the 4-4-2. It works.
Yeah. But as I say, they came down from the National League. Came down to the National League last year from the League Two, and a lot of players have actually gone. So they saw their top scorer last season was a player called Harry Smith. He was sold to Swindon, so he's not there anymore. Charlie Lakin was at Sutton. Obviously, he's now. I think he went on loan somewhere, and then they sold him eventually to Warsaw. He had 8 goals. Harry Beautyman, he was sold to Woking. He had 7 goals. Amari Patrick went to Tranmere. He had 6 goals. Amari Sawumi, he was sold to Bromley. He had 4 goals. So all of their top scorers, they've basically sold, which is very sort of the consequences, I think, sometimes of coming down from the league is readjusting to the new circumstances of the National League. So they've lost a lot of goals there. They have brought some players in though, and as you can imagine, these are particularly at this level. They're all free transfers. They brought in Tyler French, a centre back from Dundee in Scotland.
He's their captain as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Harry Ranson. He's a centre back from Crawley. Jeremy Sivvy, he's a free transfer from Middlesbrough under-21s. Jaden Harris, a centre midfielder from Carlisle. Dylan De Silva, a left winger from Wealdstone, also in the National League. Charlie Walker, he's a centre back from NK Don. So again, very typical that what happens if you get relegated, you have a clear out, and this is what they've done. So not that I know much about these players, by the way, but these are names that we might expect to see in the starting lineup, alongside the ones you've mentioned already, Matt, about the goal scorers and the ones that make the assists as well.
So the 3 I've got as I know I gave some stats a little bit earlier on some players, but the 3 I gather from social media and from the internet is Will Davies. He's almost like their danger man. He's their striker who can score and assist.
Yeah.
Josh Coley or Cooley, however you want to pronounce it, and also Tyler French, Dad, you mentioned him earlier. He's their captain, and he's that kind of tough man. Commands at the back. In fact, he got their man of the match against Braintree when they won 1-0 last week. So I think he's one of their star players as well.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be an interesting game. And should we move on? If there's anything else final on Sutton, Dad, let's move on to the Blues team.
No, not really. As I say, we were tactically, we're not 100% sure how they're going to settle. We think it'll be 4-4-2, but obviously we'll see. But it's really more about us, really, this is in terms of if we play to our strength with our players, we will win this game. And I think that's what we'll come on to score predictions at the end. But yeah, the starting line is going to be interesting for Blues, isn't it? So do you want to go for the team again, what we think it will be?
Yeah, let's do it. So goal, I'm going to go for Bailey Peacock-Farrell.
Yeah, I think he'll keep his place based upon the England, the Fulham under-21 game. And I think there was also back for the Northampton game in the league. But this game, Peacock-Farrell.
Agreed. So let's go to left back.
Well, see, I've gone for Cochrane again because I don't see any alternative. But unless he decides to bring Keller in, he could potentially.
Or Samstead maybe, because he played him left back against Fulham for the last 20 minutes, was it? So he might decide to put Samstead on the left.
If he wants to give Cochrane a break, and I think this might be a good game to do that because obviously we've got league games coming up. Possibly that's a good shout actually.
So I'll do my left back and right back because it works in conjunction for the same explanation.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to start Samstead on the left, which means I think he's actually going to start Ethan Laird on the right. Because
give him a bit more game time.
Bit more game time, getting back to fitness. And we still need some commanding presence on the pitch. And Ethan Laird does carry himself for the team, don't he? He's quite vocal at the right back position.
Oh, he's brilliant.
I love him.
I love him as well. But interesting like that, Matt. Every time we say that we think Cochrane will get a break, he's always in the starting lineup.
I know. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him start against Sutton because of a lack of depth on that position. But I think personally, if I was Chris Davies, and I'm not, I don't get paid the money. I'm just a guy on a podcast talking, Dad. But in my opinion, I would start Samstead on the left and Ethan Laird on the right.
Yeah, okay.
Just to give Cochrane that break in the legs.
Yeah, and that's probably what would happen because obviously Buchanan's not back yet. Then we saw Samstead playing in that position towards the end of the Fulham under-21s games, and that would give the opportunity for either Laird or Taylor Gardner-Hickman. But I think we'll see in a minute. Taylor Gardner-Hickman back in midfield. So we agree then that it's going to be probably if Cochrane has a break, we're going to see Samstead as left back and Laird as right back.
Yeah, I think so.
What about the two centre halves?
So I thought he was going to rest Clara against Fulham under-21s, but he just pops up in every game, doesn't he, Clara? It's almost like he can't bench him.
Yeah.
So again, if I've put my mature hat on and thinking about just resting legs for the week, I'd like to see Sanderson and Ben Davies.
Yeah, I've got those two.
Just to give Clara a rest. Bielek's still injured. So I would personally, my opinion, Sanderson and Ben Davies.
Yeah, I've gone for that as well because I think Clara does need to have a rest, doesn't he? You'd probably argue he could play every game, but the more games you play, the more fatigued you could potentially get, and therefore the higher risk of potential injury as well. So I think I've gone for Sanderson and Davies as well to start. Okay, so that gives us our back line. So where do you want to go next?
So if we go into the two midfielders, I'll start here, Dad. To be fair, I'll do the two holding midfielders, and then you can take us up into the next line. So
Okay,
I think this is going to be Mark Leonard
Yeah.
and Taylor Gardner-Hickman,
Yeah.
which is what we started with against Fulham under 21s, didn't he? And I thought it worked really well. I thought Leonard was Leonard. He does everything very well, doesn't hold on to the ball, gets rid of it. And Gardner-Hickman, I thought his distribution and his passing against Fulham was outstanding. And he put a good couple of challenges in. He's got that, I think you said in the last podcast that he's got that bite.
Yeah, yes.
which
Yeah,
I really like,
he's
so-
got an edge about him, which I
Yeah.
really like in a player as well. He rested Paik and Iwata against Fulham under 21s, and the last thing Sutton United want to see is those two on the pitch.
Yeah.
But I think that I think he'll maybe start with Gardner Hickman and Leonard, but I think at some stage we might see one or both of them coming on.
Yeah.
But he might think, Chris Davies might be thinking, well, if we don't need them, I'll keep them rested and just keep them fresh for the league games. But of course, you've also got to balance this up, haven't you? As well, the last league game that they played in was Mansfield. If they wait till Northampton to play again, that's a 2-week gap, and there's also the need to give them competitive
Definitely.
games to keep them. I know the training will do that, but it's not the same as playing in a game. So
No, it's not.
that'll be an interesting one. But I think if we agree that possibly the starting central midfielders will be Gardner Hickman and Leonard.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay.
So should we go? We usually go on the left, but let's start on the right this time, Dad. What do you think for the attacking mid right?
Oh, okay. We'll do what we always do. We talk about the whole front
you go
line
for it, yeah,
because there's lots of scenarios there. Well, firstly, I will start on the left.
That's fine.
I think it's going to be Yokoyama.
I agree.
It's based upon his performance against the Fulham under 21s. I think he's earned
It has
the
to
right.
be.
It's got to be him. So I think he'll be on the left. Now the right, if he goes for the same formation he did against Fulham under 21s, he'll play Stansfield at the number 9, Alfie May at the number 10, and Williamson on the right.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see a reverse of that. I'd like to see if he's going to experiment, do it now. So I'd like to see Alfie May as a number 9, Williamson as the number 10, and Stansfield on the right. That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah.
Okay. So whether that happens or not, but that's what I'm going to just put my eggs in one basket. That's what I want.
Yeah.
I hope you're watching Chrissy Davies. If it goes wrong, it's all my fault.
Yeah.
But no, I think
he knows exactly what we need.
he does. I don't. I'm not even in that song, so it can't be me. But I think that's what I think I'd like to try, just to see what happens, because I always feel that Stansfield is effective because of his pace, just a little bit deeper, and that right would suit him nicely, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
In fact, actually, in a few stages of the Fulham under 21s, he sort of dropped into that little role on occasions, as the team was building up play, and it worked quite nicely.
So can I tell you? So I agree, Dad. What you've just highlighted is what I would love to see. I'd love to see him take a gamble on Stano on the right, Williamson in the 10, and Yokoyama on the left, and then feeding into Alfie May in the 9. I'd love to see that. I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's going to go Yokoyama out left. I think he's going to go Yokoyama on the left.
No, Yokoyama. Sorry,
Yokoyama on the left. Keshi Anderson on the right.
Okay.
I think he's going to play Luke Harris in the 10. He's feeding into Lyndon Dykes. I think he's going to give Alfie May and Stansfield a rest.
Yes. Yeah, okay, because I've actually focused on what I actually would want to see, haven't I? But you are right, because I've completely overlooked Luke Harris, who I think will play in this game. Yeah. You are right, yeah.
I think if he doesn't start him, he'll start with Williamson in the 10, and he'll sub on Luke Harris
because
later
Luke
on,
Harris couldn't play against Fulham under 21 because he's playing against his parent team. So that's actually a really good point. So I do think you're right. I think Harris will be the number 10 because that's where, because he hasn't had any games. He's just come back off injury. So that means he'll rest either Stansfield or May. Play one of them up to number 9.
Yeah.
I hope it's Alfie May, to be honest. Might going to give Stansfield a rest. And you think you think Williamson will be out on the right?
No, he won't. He won't play him. So I think Keshi Anderson on the right.
Anderson.
Harris in the middle. Yokoyama on the left. And I don't think Stano or May will start. I think Lyndon Dykes will start up front. Because as well, you got to remember, Sutton United, they're going to be a very physical team. And Lyndon Dykes, for all his critics, gives you that physicality. And rotation, resting legs. I think what you highlighted, Dad, is what I want to see. What I just explained, though, is what I think we'll see. So there is a difference, but we trust Chris Davies.
Yeah, I completely discounted the fact that that we are I've just looked at our first starting lineup. But you are right. I mean, obviously, I think we will definitely see. Lyndon Dykes will get a start, I believe, as well. Actually, these are the games to play these type of players, isn't it? To give them their opportunity, isn't it, as well? But as you can see, Blues fans, I mean, the amount of options we've got is absolutely ridiculous. It is crazy, isn't it? Yeah. And also, as well, what we've been talking about, the way that we can adapt the team as well, so that we can say, well, maybe this player could play here. We've never had that really like that before. Occasionally, we've had a player that could play in multiple positions, but not that many players that
No.
can play. You can just swap him here, and it's like chess, isn't it?
Yeah,
You're just trying
exactly.
to get the right sort of balance and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll back you up on that. I think Lyndon Dykes will definitely start. I think Luke Harris will start because he needs the
Yeah.
game time.
But there's two players I'd like to see rested, Dad, just because they do seem to feature in every game, and that's Clara and Williamson. Just to
Yeah.
rest the legs, just to put them on the bench, bring them on if needed, 100%. But let's just let the fringe players get a few more minutes. And again, this isn't disrespectful to Sutton United. This is almost like, I think, being smart with the squad we have, just rotating, making sure we reduce injury risk, making sure we're fresh for the Northampton game. Because don't get me wrong, I want to go on an FA Cup run, I want to go on a Bristol Street Motors run. But for me, the league is the priority.
Yeah.
So, I want the players firing against Northampton more than anything, even me just being perfectly honest. So I think if this is the chance to rest players for that reason, I'm all for it.
And I think it shows that, once again, the depth of our squad. Because in previous seasons, for a game like this, we'd be bringing youth players in sometimes because either we'd have injuries or suspensions, or we'd have players that can't play in certain positions. And this is almost like an embarrassment of riches.
It is to some extent, yeah. But quick question, Dad. Do you think Yuki might get himself on the pitch this weekend?
Possibly. He might be on the bench, maybe. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see an awful lot of Yuki now in the
No.
team. And that's no disrespect to him. I think the reality of the situation with Yuki is, there's just... the reality is there's better players now in the squad.
Everyone knows that Yuki's legs are getting tired.
Yeah. Love the guy to bits. He's actually a Blues legend, and he always will be. But we have to look at the reality of the squad that we've got. He may come on, like if he's on the bench, he might bring him on for 10, 15 minutes and stuff like that. And I'm sure we'll see him in various cameo appearances through the season, but I don't think we're going to see any major input for him. And as I said, we talk about him as a club legend, and I do hope that they've already sorted something out to make him into a coach or something like that, if that's what he wants. But I don't think we'll see much of him. So he might be on the bench, but I think how many subs can you name in the FA Cup? I'm not sure. You can name 7 in the league. Can you name more in the?
Possibly. Good question.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So if you can, you might find him on the bench.
Well, the big boys are in the FA Cup, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's 10. Because when you do hit your Man U's and your Liverpools and whatever, they're going to want 10 subs, don't they?
So that gives us more options on the bench. So it could quite possibly, it's a good question that we could quite possibly see him on the bench. But so always score prediction. What do you think the score will be? So Sutton United at home to Birmingham City.
I've gone for Sutton United 0, Birmingham City 3.
Okay, I'm going to go for Sutton United 1 because it's the FA Cup and that's what the dreams are made of, isn't it? But I'm going to go for Birmingham City 4.
4-1.
4-1, I think. Yeah.
So we've gone for the same win ratio, just slightly different goals.
Yeah, I know some people are predicting, so it's only Sutton United, it's going to be 10, it's going to be 11, but, we conceded against Fulham under 21s and what was a strong squad. And, at the end of the day, football's about, we score more than the opposition that we win. So it doesn't really matter if they score a goal.
If we win 3-0 or we win 11-0, we only progress to the next round of the FA Cup. That's all it is.
Well, I say it doesn't matter if they score a goal. It does if we score 0. but I do think it'll be. I think it'll be comfortable.
I've just got a feeling that we're going to keep a clean sheet this weekend. I've just got a feeling, and
I'd like that. I don't think we all would. Makes it much more comfortable for us. But I'm just going on the basis of our sort of form over the season so far, and we haven't kept many clean sheets against. Very few, isn't it? So I'm going to give Sutton United a goal, and but I think we will. I think we'll get 4.
4, okay, 4-1 Blues, 3-0 Blues. So we'll bet the next beer at the Northampton game on it, Dad. And whoever gets closest owes the other person a beer.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So as always, Blues fans, we'd love to hear from you. What are your thoughts about ahead of the game, FA Cup clash against Sutton United? Are you excited for it? Do you think it'd be a good game? Do you want to put a score prediction in the comment section below? Let us know, and maybe you want to react to some of the stats, maybe some of the information we shared there. As always, please drop us a comment in the section below. Myself or Dad will get round to that as quickly as we possibly can. And if you like this video specifically, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up, and don't forget to check us out on our social media channels. We have an X page, we have an Instagram page, and we're also on Spotify now if you prefer to listen to your podcasts over there. And if you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any future content all about Birmingham City. And myself and Dad will see you on the next video.